I want to start in the association, and specifically, I want to start down in Brooklyn with a team that I know you've been following. I know I've been following. I know everybody has been watching these guys under a microscope, given how high, here it is again, that word, those expectations were heading into the year. This is going to be a theme throughout the show, I feel. The Brooklyn Nets won their last game 124-108 against the Los Angeles Clippers. James Harden was very good in that one. 39 points, 15 assists, 8 rebounds against the Clips. Will, I got to tell you, early in the year, I watched this Nets team who had struggled to kind of form a chemistry last year. They had moments where they looked great, other moments where they kind of looked fragmented and out of sync. This year was more of the same early, and now they seem to be coming into their own. And this game in particular was very scary, given the fact that they're going to be getting back Kevin Durant and Aldrich very soon, and Kyrie Irving very soon in some capacity or one way or another from COVID protocols as soon as Thursday against Philly. Getting those guys back is going to be great for that team, but it's even better when you combine it with the fact that Harden just played a great game. And early in the year, he's struggling, and he was part of the reason that team was struggling. Am I wrong in thinking that the Nets are only going to get better from here?
Oh, you're definitely not wrong, Colin. They've had this kind of next man up mentality. You know, Kyrie Irving, we don't know the situation there. We really don't. We're never going to know. And then sometimes Durant, he'll either be resting or he's hurt. He has COVID. Same with Harden. You know, they're never all there together. Now, a lot of their depth pieces, specifically Patty Mills. I really want to highlight Patty Mills tonight because Patty Mills, he signed a very team-friendly 2-year, $12 million contract, and he's currently leading the Nets with 32 games played. He's averaging 14 a game, and he's shooting 45% from the field and 44% from three. So I really like to see how all of the guys on the Nets, you know, you can forget the Hardens and the Durants and the Kyrie Irvings. Everybody is stepping up and really doing a good job to make this team 23-9 and the top dog of the Eastern Conference.
Right. You mentioned that 23-9 record, obviously number one in the East right now. I'm going to have to politely push back on one point you made there in that it's going to be about the role players in so many words, as you highlighted Patty Mills. Great pickup by the Nets. I'll say that much. I think he helps them in terms of depth that might have been needed last year. But more than anything else, I'm watching the stars. Because look, the NBA is a league where you need one or two guys that can flat out put the ball into the bucket to win you some games. The Nets have that. And as long as they stay healthy, they're going to be a threat. I mean, even last year with the injuries and how they were kind of limping into the playoffs and getting through that playoff run, they were maybe a smaller shoe size away from having a date with the Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm looking at KD specifically right now, who very well may be the best player on the planet. I think it's really down to him or Steph Curry at this stage in the game because LeBron has not been LeBron that we know him as from the years of the Cavaliers and things like that. He's still great, but I'm just saying for my money, it's either Durant or Curry. Durant at the moment, though, 29.7 points a game, 7.9 rebounds a game, 5.9 assists per game. You're telling me this guy is going to get Kyrie Irving back in any form. I've been critical of Kyrie Irving and his unwillingness to take the vaccine, things like that. Apparently, he's going to be back. But even having him at all is going to help them. And now the fact that Harden has seemed to figure it out after really just looking awful in the first part of the season, I think it's going to be about the stars. And I would even throw Lamarcus Aldrich into that conversation. Yeah, he's not what he used to be. There was a time where that guy would be genuinely feared throughout the league. I remember in Portland, he was viewed as a good offensive threat, especially in the post. He's giving you 14 points a game. I don't think I expected Lamarcus Aldrich to give you 14 points a game. If anything, I would have thought maybe Blake Griffin would have been that guy, and he hasn't done that. He only gives you roughly around 7 points a game. But even he has the ability to pop off every once in a while like he did last year early in the series against Milwaukee. I just think this is going to come down to the stars. And if you're Brooklyn, that had to be the strategy all along because you're not banking on Joe Harris to hit you a game-winning 3 in the playoffs. No, you're going to give it to Durant, Kyrie, or Harden.
Oh, yeah, it's always been the strategy. I mean, why they wouldn't have gone after James Harden if that wasn't the strategy. So, yeah, definitely KD being, honestly, like you said, with Curry, best player on the planet, has to be. his consistency, his ability to shoot wherever, whenever. He's just playing like the 2013 Oklahoma City KD right now, in my opinion. He just doesn't look like he had an Achilles injury a couple years ago. He's back in his form like he was years ago. Harden, like you said as well, they're both clicking. And well, KD, he's coming back. He was doing well before he went down. But once you get those two in the starting lineup together, it's, you said it's going to be a threat. I personally think it's going to be lethal. I don't know a single team in the East that's going to be able to match up with these guys in Brooklyn. And, you get Kyrie Irving coming back. Kyrie, I have mixed feelings about Kyrie. I don't really know how well he's going to fit into into what they're going with right now. But to be honest with you, I think it's going to be okay. It's all going to turn out all right in the end. It's Kyrie Irving. He is who he is, and he's a tremendous point guard. He's still probably, if not the best point guard in the NBA. It's very exciting what they have going on over in Brooklyn.
If they can get Kyrie Irving back full time, they are the best team in basketball. I
Absolutely.
said last year when these guys were healthy or healthy-ish. That's still true in my mind. I think this comes down to chemistry, and I think this is what you were getting at with the depth, is that when the chemistry's not there between the stars, you're going to need guys that can kind of pick up the slack, and I think that's why you were quick to praise Patty Mills, and right to do so. And there's been some other guys, I mentioned Joe Harris a few seconds ago, who really haven't been playing up to the level that I would like them to be playing, for considering the guys they're playing around. I'm picturing it like this. If you have a defensive situation as an opposing team, who are you going to pay attention to? Kevin Durant or Joe Harris? You're going to pay attention to Kevin Durant, which means guys like Joe Harris or Patty Mills, when they're on the court with these stars, are going to have to hit open shots. It's going to come down to a combination of things going right for Brooklyn, because when you have so many stars, that's where the defense's attention is going to be, mostly concentrated at. I'm hoping their depth pieces are good enough to kind of carry them here in those slow stretches when the chemistry's not there between the main guys. I have questions about that, because I remember last year, the only guy that seemed to get it was Bruce Brown against the Bucks. I remember overtime came in that game 7. Bruce Brown was the only guy who would follow his shot and make sure he was playing defense. That can't happen this year. If the chemistry for some reason does not get there, as we're all expecting it to, and I fully expect it to, then 100% the depth players are going to have to step up. I will say there's one sign, I want to get your thoughts on this, that this is heading in the right direction. Last year, the big critique on the Nets early was that they don't play defense. Great firepower, great three-point shooting team. This year, right now, they're ranked 5th in defensive rating. I'm encouraged by that, personally. I know some people might point to the strength of schedule, things like that. I'm not sure it's going to matter in the long run. I think the semblance of them playing any defense at all is a breath of fresh air in Brooklyn. Will, do you think that's going to make a good difference for them down the road?
I think it'll definitely be a step forward compared to last year. But if we're being honest, Colin, this team is built to score and score a lot. They're going to win their games because they're just killing you from deep. And if they're not going to kill you from deep, they're just going to bang it inside down low. So, like we pointed out before, you got Lamarcus Aldrich down there. You got Blake Griffin, who's shown us that, he may not be the Lob City guy back in LA like he was 10 years ago, but he could still ball. So, that this defensive rating that we have going on over here, that's just an added bonus to how scary this Brooklyn Nets team can be.
Added bonus that could pay big dividends for Brooklyn. If they can get the defense right, I don't know if there's anyone that could even push them to 5 games at that point. If this team plays defense, it'll be a sweep.
There's really not.
Funny to think about. 1 year ago, didn't know if Brooklyn was going to necessarily string it together. They get these stars, you're right in the picture.